Welcome to episode 2 of the Mediocrity Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Forrest. We have a special guest today. Anybody on my pod is going to be a special guest, but he's a 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, otherwise known as the Feeder Tour now. He's a 2-time Australian Open champion, and he's a current member of the Ripper GC of the LIV Golf Tour. Everybody, Matt Jones. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
I know you don't do a ton of these things, so I appreciate you taking the time out and doing this for me.
I'd do anything. You've cleaned my balls well over the years, so I can more than happy to help you out.
That's about the only thing I've done well is cleaning your balls. For those that don't know, Matt has also been my boss for 3 times.
Yep, he's had a first, you've had a win, a second, and whatever we had last time at the Australian Open. We can't remember that, but we can discuss that later.
Yeah, we'll bring up the Australian Open stuff later in the podcast. I wanted to start off we're filming this podcast on a Tuesday, and so yesterday, Yasir, the head man of the PIF, met with the PGA, Jay Monahan, I think John Henry, and the PGA players, Cantley, Tiger, Scott, whoever's on that board. I know they don't tell you a lot, but did you hear anything on how that meeting went? What exactly, was discussed? Where are we at with this merger? What do you think's going to happen?
No, we don't hear anything on our side from PIF. It's a PIF deal. It's got nothing to do with LIV right now. The PIF lawyers, Yasser doesn't give us any information when we speak to him, and rightly so. There's been NDAs been signed, so they're really not supposed to disclose any information. On the PGA Tour side, I don't hear anything. You can see it on social media. Those guys like to talk a lot more than the guys on LIV and the PGA Tour do, and I think everyone on LIV is very happy about where everything is, and they're not the ones making problems.
It does seem, not that there's issues, and I think LIV's been going on for 2.5 years now. So I think the overall shock and the anger from players is really, for the most part, died down a little bit. So, but you do still, it is coming from one side really, and they're still talking. So I want to get your perspective. They're still, and I know the reporters are asking these questions, but it's always, what should happen to the LIV guys when they come back on the PGA Tour, and what kind of punishments. And I know the players, Scheffler and JT, and I think even Jordan, they've been talking. I know Scheffler, when he was here for the Phoenix Open, said they need to do some kind of compensation or contribution to the tour. I just, what do you guys think on when you hear that? I laugh because for me, I'm like, contribution to the tour, I think they've already achieved that for you guys. Let's see, you're playing for $25 million purses. The PIP money is, gone up astronomical. Heck, you got people, you guys aren't getting any world ranking points, which we'll discuss in a minute too. But so the world rankings all screwed up. So you got guys ranked in the top 50 that have no business being in the top 50, which is again fattening their pocket. And same with guys from the top 100 that don't belong in the top 100. So what are your guys' thoughts when you kind of hear that? I think it kind of alluded. I mean, I don't see anybody on your side even saying you want to play the PGA Tour again. Now, if a merger happens and you come together, fine. But I don't see anybody clamoring.
No, from speaking with all the boys, they'd play select events.
Right.
I mean, you'd probably have Rahm would probably play the Phoenix Open. I'd probably play.
Yeah, I was going to say, what
I'd probably
would you play?
I'd love playing Pebble. To add many more than that, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But the PGA Tour guys, they need the LIV guys back. If they want their equity shares to be worth anything, they need Bryson, they need Brooks, they need Cam, they need John to help grow the equity of that for-profit side of things.
Yeah.
So they should be doing everything they can to get those players back.
And I think the John Henrys of the world realize that.
They've invested.
They've invested a lot of money in their tour, and even this week, the players, which it was, I watched a decent amount of it. Great event.
Yeah, it was. I watched. That's the most golf I've watched for a long time. Yeah, and it was great. But still, the product was down on past year's TV coverage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The coverage was down, which is surprising.
The PGA Tour, they don't have the characters that the LIV does.
Right.
When you have the likes of Brooks, Bryson, DJ, Rahm, Cam Smith, Tyrrell Hatton's a draw card.
Draw.
I mean, he's animated.
Yeah.
People love watching him blow up on a golf course.
Oh yeah.
So
Bubba.
it's
All the characters are on. The problem they have is all the characters. I don't want to say all, but most of the characters are on Live. Which is, again, hurting their ratings.
Well, they are. Yeah, they're characters, but they're phenomenally good golfers too.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
So
of course.
I mean, they're definitely. There's a lot of golfers that on Live that are still top 50 in the world, top 20, top 10 in the world.
Yeah, and I don't know. And I don't know how that's still possible. Speaking of the world rankings stuff, I watched the podcast with Carlos Ortiz on it. He was on Colt's show, Subpar. And he had mentioned, so I was curious if you were ever told this, but he had mentioned that he was told that from, I think, Norman, he said that he was told that they would get world ranking points. Were you ever told that, like, straight up? Or I'm sure Norman's going, listen, they got to give us world ranking points because they wouldn't want to do that much damage to their own.
No. Norman never said that to Carlos either. It was, we were in a player meeting and we just signed the deal with the MENA Tour.
Okay.
And through all the criterias and things you had to go through to fulfill the requirements to become OWGR, to acquire world ranking points,
Right.
Joining them fulfilled some of the requirements that we needed, and they said this should provide us with the ability to get OWGR points.
Gotcha.
No one ever said you're going to get them before we signed. I was never told we're getting world ranking points ever. But once we signed the deal with the MENA Tour, they thought that would cover a lot of the bases that were required to get OWGR points.
And again, you would think the powers that run the world rankings, who also are in charge of the majors, and they would give the points because there's going to come a time where the majors aren't the majors anymore if they don't figure something out. Now, the world ranking thing's done now. I know you guys withdrew it. It was too late at this point anyway because you weren't going to get enough points even if they put you in the system. So the majors really, you would think they'd be close to at least doing something for LIV to where top 10, the winners of an event go top 10 in the season point totals.
You would think that's where they're headed. Because even if we did not pull the application to get OWGR points, and come June or July, they may have given us, but no one would have been able to make any points anyway to get into world rankings because how skewed it is towards the PGA Tour. PGA Tour needs their world ranking points for their TV contracts. I think it was a smart thing for LIV to do to take out the request for OWGR, and then it's going to put pressure on the majors to come up with their own criteria to get the likes of Joaquin Neiman in events, which every major should want him in there.
Yeah, it's crazy that he's is he in every one No, he's not in the US Open, right?
He's in he's in the Masters and the PGA as of right now.
And the British because of his win through the Australian Open.
So he's got.
So it's really the US Open that hopefully, I mean, if he wanted to qualify, the way he's playing, he'll probably qualify.
But then you've got someone like Taylor Gooch. He should be in every major.
And quite frankly,
there's a lot of them.
Well, a lot of it. Louis should still be getting into the majors the way he's playing. So there's a lot of guys. But anyway, okay. Well, it's good little insight there from the LIV side. The season's 4 tournaments in.
Yes.
How would you say the season's going for you? I know you've had a couple decent finishes here the last 2 weeks. Or last 2 tournaments in Saudi, and then you let up for a little bit in Hong Kong before the wheels kind of unraveled.
Hong Kong was disappointing. I let a good one slip there. One of the holes in the second round. You have to hit a big slice off the tee, and I double crossed it, made double, then I doubled the last hole. So it could have been a really good week. But overall, it's getting a lot better. The team's doing good. Having Lucas Herbert on the team.
I was going to say, how's that addition been
quality
for you guys?
Quality golfer, world class golfer. Yeah. He brings a lot of good golf to our team.
And you guys got your first podium.
We did. It was nice. Should have, would have, could have been better.
Yeah.
I think it was tough to keep track because I think we were leading with 1 or 2 holes to go, but I never saw it. But then I think Leash bogeyed his last 2 holes. I bogeyed my second last hole, and I think Herbert bogeyed one of his last 2 as well. So I think we were 1 or 2 ahead with 2 to go, and then we ended up losing by 3.
First podium, though, still not bad. Now, how was the event? I watched it on TV. It looked, especially the Saturday, Sunday, it looked like it was an incredible crowd. It looked like awesome. It was an awesome vibe.
Yeah, the crowd was amazing. The golf course was phenomenal. My first time playing that golf course. The crowd was unbelievable. Nice. They love golf. I mean, the whole Asian side, they love their golf over there. Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, China.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it's a good region.
It's a good region, and it was well received over there, and I
Nice.
think
Good.
I think there'll be many more events over there.
Good, good. Now I was watching, as I mentioned, I was watching the coverage, and a couple of your mates back home were wondering how much you might have paid Faraday and Jerry Foltz off, because during the coverage, and we got a good kick out of this during the coverage. I think it was the hole you double crossed and you ended up in the bushes. And I will say I was ready to see the meltdown as this caddy. I've seen it a couple times. We've usually been doing well enough where I haven't seen.
Is that typically when I'm eating a sandwich?
Yeah. You give me a mystery number and
Yeah, maybe, maybe I'm on the wrong yardage, the wrong hole.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you double cross and you're playing out of the woods, and to your credit, and Faraday's like, Matty Jones is one of the nicest guys on tour, and you never know when he hits a bad shot. He never loses his anger out there on the golf course. And I'm sure you are one of the nice guys. Listen, we love him to death. But Faraday, to say this guy never loses his cool on the golf course would be an understatement. He did good on that hole, but I have
a 5-iron in my bag that's missing the grip from the next day. So, and there's a 2-iron that I left with the locker room attendant after the third round. So I went through 2 clubs. It was good though. Leash went through a putter. He snapped his putter over his knee on the last hole. So,
and there's a putter in the water at Beto.
There's a putter in the lake at Mayakoba.
Oh, wow, didn't know about this one.
Yeah, that was years ago. Just flew it straight over my head and just kept walking.
Classic. Anyway, we got a big kick out of that. I was watching.
Wasn't as good as Adam Hadwin's throw there last week at the Plays on 18. But
that was well done. And Boris had a couple of
we all
nice clubs. Everybody does it. We got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, no, we
got a good chuckle out of it.
I don't know if Adam Scott's ever thrown a club or broken a club in anger. He's way too calm on the golf course. I would be shocked.
What about Cam? Like, Cam doesn't seem like somebody. Maybe I'm wrong there, but he doesn't seem like
I played the US Open with Cam at Torrey, and there is a 8-iron behind the 8th tee in 2 pieces somewhere. So okay. Yes, Cam can let it go too.
I stand corrected. Yeah. I stand corrected. Now, Liv's big signing, obviously, before the season was John Rahm. What has he brought to Liv? Have you seen a difference maybe in energy around the golf course as far as larger crowds? Is it the same? Is there a noticeable difference having who I think is the best player in the world on your tour?
It's yes. I mean, when you add someone like John Rahm, who's 2-time major winner, arguably top 1, 2, 3 players in the world right now. I played golf with him today at Silverleaf, and it was just another ball striking clinic of fairways, greens, and wedges to a foot and tapping in. But he's going to bring a lot fan wise, but he brings a lot more commercially wise too. Sure. For sponsors to come in. When you see someone of his caliber come in and join Liv, it's only going to open up the doors for sponsors to come in and want to be involved.
Now, did you see? I saw he announced his Masters dinner. Did you see that? Looked like a tasty menu.
I did. I asked him about it actually on the range today, and he it's very it's a family kind of meal. Everything relates back to him in a family in some way. So does the wine that he's serving. Oh. So it's going to be good. I'm happy for him.
So it's for those that haven't seen the menu. I think it's starters of Iberian ham, Spanish omelet with potatoes, and something else. It's chicken croquettes. It's a tasty menu. Man.
Yes, I'm sure it will be. I went to Valderrama in Spain for the first time last year, and the food was amazing. Yeah, so I'm sure they'll provide everything nicely in the Masters dinner for him.
Now, what would be your Masters? And we're talking Masters dinner offset, but what would be your Masters dinner if you wanted? If somehow you get back into the Masters and win the golf tournament?
Geez, that'd be tough. I'd have to start with some Kilpatrick oysters.
Okay.
Love those. Mum, homemade Kilpatrick oysters from Mum with some bacon and some Worcestershire sauce on top, baked. There'd have to be some meat pies in there.
I was going to say, I'm waiting for the meat pie, yeah.
That's just a standard. And then
no Vegemite on the menu though. You can't do that to the boys.
We wouldn't do that. And then what else would I do? I don't know. There'd be some type of steak.
Yeah.
I'd have to have
Yeah.
a steak or some type of spaghetti. I love
Okay.
pasta. So
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Doesn't sound
you'd
as
be.
good.
I'd invite you.
Yeah, I would love to crash that.
Yeah.
To crash that dinner. All right. Well, that sounds good. I'm glad. Hopefully, there's the next tournament in LIV is Miami, which I know it's been a team event the last two times, but you played pretty well there. So I'm sure you have pretty high expectations because you played well on the Sundays of individual. I think you've shot the lowest or second lowest score both years. So.
I did. I played well there last year. I think probably after Friday night, our team was a bit banged up, to say the least.
You guys have a nice little session.
It was very large after we got knocked out. So I was out of commission all day Saturday, and it got me dialed in ready for Sunday.
Got you ready Sunday, yeah.
And
Well,
played well.
Now you know what you need to do.
Yes, I know how to prep.
That's all you did. Now this you just do it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Doral great. Tough. It's a big boy golf course, so it's going to be it's a battle, and you have to grind and play well there, and it's going to be different playing it as a individual. Well, not an individual, but not the team aspect.
Right. Yeah.
We still have the team aspect, but playing it as not as a match play and alternate shot. So it'll be some stress out there, some scar tissue holes out there for sure.
I'm curious how the crowd, because usually it's end of year tournament, so it's usually September or October, right? So this year in April. So see, it's always been nice vibe, nice energy, a good crowd there. Hopefully, I would imagine it's going to be the same. So.
As long as we have DJ and Billy in her outfit, we're going to be golden.
Yeah, that was an epic. That was an epic outfit to try to walk around the golf course in. Let's go back to little Matt Jones.
Okay.
Grew up in Sydney, Australia.
I did.
How did you get in? What was like in Sydney?
I grew up in a suburb called Oyster Bay, 30 minutes south of Sydney. Used to follow Dad and my brother and uncle down to the golf course, and just all started from there when I was probably, I think it was 6 or 4. I can't remember. I think 4.
Okay.
And then just always played golf on the weekends. We were a very sporting, athletic family, so Saturdays was soccer, Sundays was Dad's soccer, so we were always playing soccer on Saturday and Sundays, running around. And then when I got a little older, probably, I'd say 12, 13, 14, that's when golf really started to kick in for me.
I heard you were a pretty decent soccer player.
Yeah, I played plenty of soccer. I love playing soccer. But yeah, when I started to take golf more seriously, and it kind of, started playing for the state teams, so it took away time from soccer, so I had to make a choice and ended up playing golf.
And you came up with Adam Scott and Aaron Badley.
I did, yeah. Adam was the number 1 junior in Queensland. Aaron would have been the number 1 junior in Melbourne or Victoria. And then another guy, Wade Ormsby, who was on LIV. He was the number 1 guy for South Australia. So
really?
We all grew up playing against each other. Adam was, as much as I hate to say it, he was always just that little bit better than everyone. He was. He just had the it factor. He was just an amazing golfer from very young age. But yeah, it was. It's funny to see us all now 44. I'm 44. Adam's going to be 44 soon, and we're still going and still battling away. He's on the feeder tour. I'm on the LIV tour.
You make choices. You got to live with them, I guess. You know. Sorry, Adam. So, and you had, as you brought him up earlier in the podcast, but Gary Barter, he started coaching you at 15, right? Yep. And he's been your coach the entire time, which is very rare in professional golf.
It is. My mum used to cater food, and she was catering for a law firm in the city. And Nicole, who's Gary's wife, was the, I don't know if she was a paralegal or if she was a receptionist. And they got to talking, and Mum said, my son plays golf. And Nicole said, well, my husband teaches golf. And that's where it all started from.
And here we are.
And then, I was 15. He was teaching at the Australian golf course. And then I joined there at the Australian golf course, probably, I think when I was 15 as well, probably 6 months after first working with him.
That's incredible, like I said.
So we're at 29 years, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a long time. Especially because you've gone through a lot of caddies in your time, but only to have one coach is remarkable. Is there something about working with Gaz? I mean, I love the guy. Obviously, he's Obviously he just gets your swing.
I think it's probably more so we have the same philosophies and beliefs in the golf swing. That's probably been imparted. His influence and his philosophies have been imparted on me. So, but then I watch other golf coaches and I watch how they teach, and I just don't agree with some of the stuff they teach. So I'm very comfortable with what Gary and I do. It's worked well. Maybe not as well as I would have liked over the years, but it's been good.
I think you've had a pretty good partnership.
Oh, we've had a great partnership.
Been a great team.
Yep.
So you're still a young buck.
I know. Phil won a major at 50.
That's right. That's right. Let's hope you get into another major. So from Sydney, Australia, obviously, how did you choose Arizona State to go play college golf?
I was playing a interstate series in Australia, which is all the states, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia. They all play against each other. The top, I think, 5 players from each state were playing. And it was a junior one, I think. And there was a golf coach by the name of Jim Kelson from the University of Tennessee over watching and recruiting. And he watched me play and saw me play and started up a conversation. And he recruited me to come to University of Tennessee.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then I knew a guy called the name of Matt Batman who went to a community college here in Scottsdale. Christian Hills, who went to ASU, he was a member at the same golf course I was, and they all spoke to Coach or Randy Lyon, who ended up recruiting me and got me to come here. Came on a recruiting trip here in the University of Tennessee.
Okay, so you did take one to Tennessee.
I did. I got to go on the field for a Tim Couch, Peyton Manning football game.
Wow.
I was on the field before they kicked off.
And did you know my good buddy from high school was Tim Couch's starting center, actually. Okay. So you saw my buddy snapping to Tim Couch.
It was cool. It was a very good game. It was a cool place, but once I went there,
pretty crazy. So you actually went to, and it's supposed to be a beautiful campus.
Yep.
And you took in a SEC game time environment.
Yep.
And we somehow still got you to go to Arizona State.
Well, once you went there and you looked at the golf courses, and then I came here to Tempe and saw the golf courses and the weather. It was a pretty easy decision. Yeah. When you take into account the weather, proximity to getting home to Australia from East Coast to West Coast.
True.
It was a good decision. I would have enjoyed living over there and seeing what it was like, but for golf and for my lifestyle, I think I chose a good spot.
And ASU at the time too was still a powerhouse in golf. I mean, I would say more so than University of Tennessee too.
So, 100%. When you have the likes of Jason Housey on the team and DJ Lewin, I mean, that's the powerhouse you need.
To know that a team brought DJ Lewin up to become the golfer that he became and the person, it's hard not to try to follow in those footsteps.
But it is.
And then again, Jason, with Jason Housey, you're looking at one of the greatest ball strikers.
He was one of the best 3-click fade guys I've ever seen with his ping one iron. It was amazing. I got to learn a lot from Jason. He was my college roommate. He and another guy called Brad Cannon, they taught me a lot about drinking.
Oh yeah, Brad Canyon. Brad Canyon was I love the guy to death. I went to a party or two with him where he'd get us into some sticky situations, but hell of a guy.
No one can fall asleep in a weird place better than him.
No, correct. I'm sure Housey has a couple of those stories as well. Yeah. But who else was on that team? It was a good team. It was a very stacked team actually. Paul Casey. Okay, yeah. Jeff Quinney, who played on tour for a while and won the US Amateur. Jin Park, who played on the PGA Tour for a while. Another guy called Shane McManamy, who won the US Junior. Brady Stockton. So that was a deep team. Yeah, we had a very deep Chris
team.
O'Connor.
Yes, I mean,
was he on that team?
He was. He walked on.
He always walked on. So he wasn't really part of the walk on.
We called him ATM. We referred to him as ATM for the money he donated.
Oh, I'm sure. No, I think everybody knew. Yeah. No, back then it might have been for 2 reasons, but okay, yeah, interesting. How was Quinney in college? I think he was kind of. My understanding was a little more low key in college, right? It took him a while to.
Quinney was very different. He was kind of a good boy.
Yeah.
He was kind of a good boy. He did his schoolwork, played and practiced golf, didn't drink,
Yeah.
Had
Which
a-
is probably why he's a great assistant coach for the University of
Yeah.
Oregon, actually.
yeah, setting a good example. He was great though. We had a great time. He lived with us. I lived with him. Sorry, probably my junior year, my last year. It was him and it was 4 of us actually at Jefferson Commons. Gin, I think McManamy, myself, and Jeff.
Nice.
So a lot of kegs.
A lot of kegs, a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. He loosened up a little, I think, then and started to let go.
Now, where would I know most of the stuff was probably house parties or whatever else, but did you have a go-to? Where was your ASU go-to out on the town spot?
I would, if it was in Tempe, I'd say it was Maloney's.
Okay, sure.
Right on University there. I don't know. I wouldn't know if it's still there anymore.
No, it's not there anymore. That was mine too. It's probably everybody's, right?
Yeah.
But back in my day, it was Maloney's.
And then in Old Town, it was, I don't know if it was called Sanctuary.
Yes, Sanctuary, sure. God, that was a great place for a couple years.
Yes.
It was
I think
a really
it was
good place.
Padilla's buddy Phil was a bartender or bouncer there or something. So he hooked us up a lot of the time and we had underage parties there when we had our fake IDs.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I frequented the Thirsty Beaver quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a.
I think that was there was Martini Ranch. That was
sure.
Definitely another one that we used to go
down
to a
in
lot.
Old Town. That was probably the number one.
Yeah, the live
number
band
one
downstairs
place.
or the nightclub upstairs. That was definitely one we visited a lot.
Yeah, a lot of good times. That's why you go to ASU. Yeah, a lot of good times. So from ASU, you turned pro. Were you a junior? When did you turn pro?
I left after my junior year. Paul,
Jeff, Gin.
Shane, I think, were all graduating, and I just didn't want to.
Be a part of a new
yeah,
core.
I wasn't going to graduate anyway. I'd just come off a year where I had I was a first team All American, so I was like, it's probably a good time to go. I got a little bit of financial help from Titleist.
Okay.
And it was a financial burden on my parents to have to try and help me be in college as well. Because it's not like you have getting a scholarship's great, but you still have to live. There's still a lot of things you have to take care of.
Do you get full scholarships for golf?
Yes. Yeah, I was on a 50% scholarship for the first year and a half, maybe. I can't remember. And then it went to a 75 or 100. I can't remember. Because I said, look, my parents can't afford to keep doing this, especially with the exchange rate at 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, right.
So, turned pro in 01. And then I don't know how long it took me to get onto I don't know what it was called back then, Nationwide Tour, whatever it was called. It probably took me 3 or 4 years. I can't remember how long it took.
So what did you do? Just you were mini
tours. There used to
around?
be a phenomenal tour here called the Gateway Tour.
Okay.
And they had purses of the winner could $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And I went and did a lot of Monday qualifiers for the Nationwide Tour and plus played state opens and did whatever I could to survive. It was good though because it teaches you to travel and be on your own.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you probably had a good time as far as the Nationwide and the mini tours, right? I'm sure you room up, you kind of get a bunch of buddies, you travel around together.
Very different than the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always rooming with a mate. You're always going out to dinner. You miss a cut, you guys go and have a lot of fun, get drunk. And I was on there with Quinny as well. We're out there together before he got on tour and before I got on tour. So we had a lot of good times. We had a lot of fun together.
Yeah. And then in the Corn Ferry, it took a couple years too for you to kind of get your footing.
It did. Yep. I finished. I don't know. I got through Q School 1 year and I finished last at Q School in Florida. And had a really shitty category. And then I think the next year or the year after that, I probably finished 99th.
And does that keep your
on the Corn Ferry, the Nationwide money list? It gives you a really crappy conditional category.
Okay.
The only reason I finished 99th is because we were playing in Miami and there was a hurricane. They cancelled the tournament. So if I played that tournament and missed the cut, I probably would have had to go back to first or second stage of Q School.
Oh, wow.
So I had some type of conditional. I think then that would have been 06. Then 07, I finished 6th on the money list.
And then that launched your PGA tour career, and you kind of been there.
Yeah, I was on tour. I went up and down a little bit, missed my card. I finished 126 on the money list 1 year.
I was going to say, you've had an interesting kind of PGA Tour career in a sense that, I think I read where you've spent, over 250 weeks inside the top 100,
Okay.
which is pretty incredible,
Wouldn't
right?
know that at all.
And well, that's what I'm here for. Research.
Okay.
I'm research. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
I thought that was the producer's job.
You know, well, my producer's still working, just like me. My producer's still working out the kinks. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I saw that you've been ranked inside the top 100, but you've also had some years. It has to just be painful where you came in like 126, 127th, 126, 127th. 3 out of the first 4 years on tour. Yeah,
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, that's a learning experience when you go out there and you play all new golf courses. You play up against the best players in the world at the time. I did go through a stage where I really struggled with my putting, and that's what probably held me back from doing better. But I mean, to be on the PGA Tour for I think 15 years. It was great. I had a great time. A lot of great friends out there, and I mean, it's a really good tour. I mean, and I loved it, and it was a lot of fun.
I've always kind of wondered what's the different stress level that you feel, let's say, trying to win a golf tournament as opposed to trying to get inside the top 125.
Yeah.
Is there, what's harder for you, do you think, stress-wise?
I would say trying to keep your job the next year is much harder than win a golf tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't win a golf tournament, you've got next week, or you've got...
Right.
If you're trying to keep your job, you got a family, you're trying to provide for them, trying to make a cut, and finish top 20.
And it's not cheap out there traveling, right? A lot of people don't understand that. What would you say? I've always wondered, I know I talked to Badley about this years ago, because he always travels with his full family almost all the time. But what would you say kind of cost? Let's say you're playing 30 events out on the PGA Tour. Couple $100,000 for room,
30 events.
Like,
30 events. You're on with the caddy involved, just on wage, hotels. I mean, the hotels are never that cheap,
right? Even with the discount, right, that the tour gets.
It's a fake. It's actually a markup. They mark it up, and then but you can go online or go onto something else, and you can find it cheaper. But the hotel we're staying at, no, they mark it up for us. It's. I couldn't put a number on it. I'm sure I could if I broke it down, but literally, you're probably looking at $5,000 to $10,000 a week before you make $1.
Yeah,
I would say.
So,
I mean, you can try.
You do the math yourself, and
you can try and do it as cheap as you want to.
Sure.
But you don't.
But at that level,
you've got to earn. Yeah, you've got to be ready to play and perform. So you can't be pinching pennies when you're trying to perform and play well.
Right. So yeah, I guess that's pretty stressful then trying to keep your car.
Oh yeah,
like you said.
Yeah, the tour added a great little thing there 2 years ago when they added the $500,000 minimum for guys, which
that's huge.
I think it's phenomenal. It's a great one of the best things they've done.
And another thing that was done because of LIV.
Yeah, and it should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, correct.
Because they come out with no money, and you're supposed to go to Hawaii. You're supposed to go to all these places, and look, guys don't have that much money.
Stay at the Ritz. And,
you play the Corn Ferry, you make $300,000, but that's gone in taxes, expenses. You don't have a lot of money to come out and pay $3,000 for a hotel room for the next few events.
Stressful. Yeah, I was always curious what kind of tightens the ass a little more.
Well, I've had both sides, and winning the golf tournament's much easier than trying to keep your card.
And you've always done pretty good though, pressure wise, when you didn't end up keeping your card and you had to go back to Q school, which again is another stressful. Now they don't have Q school anymore, but that was.
They do.
You always. Oh, do they have it again?
Just came back in this year, where your top 5 get their tour card. I think.
But anyway, they did stop it for a while.
They did.
But you always had pretty good success going to Q school, or when they changed it to where you have to go to the Corn Ferry playoffs.
Yep.
You always
I think every time I went back, I got my card through Q school or the Corn Ferry finals straight back,
which is an impressive enough feat.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I actually just always went back believing that I was better than everyone there. I mean, I probably should have that attitude when I'm playing a regular event.
Well, now you know.
Yeah,
now you
just figured it out.
Just figure it out. That's
Watch out, Doral.
Yeah. Let's talk about your real breakout, which was the Shell Houston Open.
Okay.
How was it? Now you came from like 7 back on Sunday?
No idea. I can't remember what I was behind. But yeah, I think I would have been back. I think I bogeyed my first hole too in the last round, so I would have been plenty back of whoever was leading. I can't really remember.
I think Kuchar was ended up leading, and that's who you beat. But a couple of pretty impressive. A lot of people remember your chip in, which was unbelievable, but your actual birdie putt on 18 to give yourself a chance to get into a playoff.
Yeah, that was good.
That might have been tougher than the chip.
It was a good 45 foot, I think. And then I still needed
some
help.
bend, right?
Yeah. And then I still needed help from Cooch too.
Right. We appreciate Cooch hitting it in the water.
Yeah, it was very nice of him to do that.
And then what was going through your head when you saw that chip go in for your first win?
I was actually really headless after the tee shot because I went to the fairway bunker, but the way they raked the bunkers, I was in a rut. So I couldn't go, and I think Kuchar was in the fairway, so I couldn't get it on the green. I had no chance to hit a shot and make contact to get it on the green. So my only option was to hit it up there somewhere and try and get it up and down. And I hit it up probably just 10 yards short. It was a chip that I think I've grown up hitting. You got a little bank, land in the bank, kill it, and let it trickle up over, and then trickle down. And lucky enough, it went in.
And then 14 years or whatever amount of stress was shown.
It was
that cheer.
It was. Huh? And the best part was my brother and his friends were driving to Augusta to go to the Masters the next week, and they had a bottle of.
And regardless, they were
going to Augusta.
They were going to Augusta no matter what.
They were going no matter what because it wasn't live at the time either, so they had to listen to it on the radio. And needless to say, they got really drunk on that car ride with a bottle of tequila and a bottle of vodka. I'm
going to go out on a limb, knowing your brother and the boys. They probably would have got really drunk on that tequila, regardless.
They would have
if you made it, but makes it sweeter.
Yes,
makes it taste a little sweeter. How was your first experience? You didn't really, obviously you win the tournament before Augusta, so it's all kind of a blur, I imagine. So I imagine your first experience, obviously incredible, but you didn't really get to, prep the way you'd want to heading into there. But how did the Masters live up to everything you expected? It was great. The weather was crappy. I think Monday was washed out, so I didn't even get to go to the course and practice a play on Monday. Tuesday, I got to play with Stads and his dad, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it's great. To go and do that. Maybe Calc as well. I can't remember if it was Calc or not. But I think Stads was for him and his dad, the only father-son to play in the Masters at the same year. I believe it. Yeah. Anyway. But the best part was the par 3 tournament. I got had my wife, Mel, and I had Sabre, who she would have been 2 at the time, and we just had our second one probably 4 weeks earlier, Savannah. So she was at home with the nanny, and Mel and Sabre were out in their white outfits. Yeah. And on the second hole, I had a hole in one, and I made Sabre go up and get the ball, and I can still see her going up and getting the ball out of the hole. I have it framed at home. That's awesome. That's probably my favorite, one of my, if not my best memory of playing golf, actually. I happen to also have been there to watch that hole-in-one at the practice round, but you probably forgot about that. I thought that would also make it. Which one? I was there for the hole-in-one at the par 3 tournament. Were you really? Yeah. See? Jeez. That's how much of it a blur it is for me. Unbelievable. I thought that's what really made it special. I mean, your daughter pulling out of the hole's cool, but having your buddy there to watch, it's like. I thought you guys came in on later than Tuesday. They did. I came in with Mel. Actually, I do remember that now. Yeah, you did jump on the private jet. I jumped on the PGA with the wife. I do remember now. Most people came in late. I said, you know what? I forgot they flew in private, but now, yes, they did too. Well, I probably would have come in a little later, but when you're offered a seat, on the PGA to Augusta, you take it. Yeah, that was great. And again, that was an awesome moment watching that hole-in-one and just being there the whole week. I will say for me, the Masters lives up to, never been there, never besides TV, and you see how beautiful it is on TV, and you go, there's no way it's like that live, and it's actually better. Yeah, 100%. You don't realize how good it is, like there from the first tee when you're looking down 9, down that big vast spaces over there. It's beautiful, but
what you
That's
guys did to
unbelievable.
me Friday night after I missed the cut. that was not nice.
Yeah,
and
we had
Saturday
you're
was
right, we had a
Saturday
nice
was one of the
session.
most pain I've ever had.
Yeah, we had a nice session. Of course, we had also a nice session Saturday night, which I don't think you
I
were
know I was
part of.
no chance I could have been part of that.
And then so the drive from Augusta to Atlanta for me on that Sunday morning and O'Connor was driving home, and we both were hungover. I had the shits. I think we had to stop at 2 or 3 different, McDonald's
Yeah.
throughout we finally made it to the airport, but it was a rough,
You guys didn't need an Uber?
it was a rough, oh, we did. We did have an Uber situation, and that's what he's talking about.
We don't need to discuss it.
We won't go into detail. Let's just say somehow the cops were called on. The Uber driver called the cops on us. We called the cops on the Uber driver. I won't even say who was in the car, what happened. But it was an epic weekend, and we had it all. We had you to thank for it. Actually,
I'd be more than happy to do it again.
we appreciate it. Your next big moment on tour, obviously, the Honda Classic, where it was 7 years between. What did that win mean to you, as far as, I imagine, validation, just to be able to get the second one on tour?
To win a second time, probably it does give you a little bit of validation. I mean, there's a lot of one-time winners, but to do it multiple times was good. I'm pretty happy. It was during COVID, I think, so there weren't as many fans as you would think. But to win on that golf course, you've really got to be,
And set the course record on the first day.
yes, I tied it or set it, but to win on that golf course you've got to really be able to golf your golf ball. It's a very stressful golf course. I think there's 14 or 15 of the holes have water on them, so you've got to be able to control your ball. But that was another win that
was very, very nice.
another win that you got to come out and
We
celebrate.
got
with.
December. We surprised you.
Yes, I didn't see you
Didn't-
guys until I didn't see you until I made the putt on 18 to officially win.
Yeah,
I didn't see anyone.
which was awesome because we flew down last minute and said let's not tell Joan. So we had Chappie leave us the tickets, and we're like, just whatever you do, try to stay out of his eyesight. Let's just watch this, and you surprise him on 18 when he wins, and that was an awesome.
Yeah,
That was an awesome
it was
moment
good.
seeing you. It was pretty cool, and then we put in a nice session there in West Palm that night as well. But they say what happens in West Palm stays in West Palm. So
and thank God we had a private home too.
private hurt, but it hurt a lot less.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that as well. Now let's talk about what I think is probably your favorite victory.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the one
I've been waiting for.
I'm not even talking about mine. It's obviously my favorite victory of yours, but what did it mean to you to win the 2015 Australian Open? It was the 100-year anniversary of the Australian Open. Obviously, all the greats have won it, from Player to Nicklaus to, I think, Tiger. Everybody's won it. And I imagine out of any golf tournament, besides maybe the Masters and the British Open, that would be the tournament you'd want to pick off.
Yeah, I mean, if I could choose one, it'd probably be the Open Championship. But the Australian Open, winning the 100th Australian Open at your home golf course too, in front of a lot of friends and family and members of the golf course, and especially also having to play with Spieth on the Sunday when he was at
Number
the top
one
of
in
his
the world.
game.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful day. I had some really horrific holes in the front nine, but I battled back. And
How nervous were you that day? Home course, lead up you're leading the Open. What were you nervous?
No,
or not
I wasn't
really?
nervous at all. Sunday, one bit. I was very confident my golf game. It had been phenomenal the whole week. It was just windy. It was just tough. And I had, I think I doubled my second hole, the par 3, and then I had a double on the 9th hole. But
Actually, I think it was a triple.
triple, yes.
Yeah.
There you go. I can't remember. But it was. I've always played the back nine pretty well there, so
I'd probably imagine nobody's played the back nine better at that golf course than you actually. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Neiman did this year, but yeah, I have played well there over the years on the back nine, which is the front nine's a very tough nine for me. I mean, I think it is for anyone, but yeah, to go toe to toe with Jordan was great, and to beat him was, I think he was defending too at the time, so it was fun. It's probably one tournament that I would have always wanted to win, and be able to do it twice is pretty impressive. And the second one,
I think, is what most people remember.
I mean, there's a photo over here that I can see right now that
Walking up the fairway.
Yep. After we got told the wrong scenario coming down the last hole.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. So, for those that don't know, for once I can actually say we. Usually I say we when Miami's playing or you're on whatever, and it's not we. But this is one instance it is we. So you make an incredible putt on 17 to give us at the time a 3-shot cushion.
Yes.
So we get to 18, which is a par 5, and on the green, Louis, we can see him make a putt. But the crowd didn't go nuts to where we would have thought it was an eagle.
No.
Right? So we're thinking, okay, maybe you made birdie. Let's ask. So we asked the TV guy what Louis just made up there, and he holds up 5 fingers. So we're like, okay, the guy made a par. And I think you even asked him again, like, are you sure it was a 5? And he shakes his head, yes. So we play the hole like we have a 3-shot lead. So, no stress at all. You hit the ball in the left bunker on purpose, really. Let's not even flirt right. You hit your second shot.
I think it hit a tree.
It hits the tree and kind of goes straight down. But again,
I'm not worried.
We're not worried at all. We're in the pine. We're in pine needles, I think.
I think we had 5 iron in though, so it was still had a long way, but
But again, we got a 3-shot lead. So you hit your 5 iron, and it was a good shot, but just out in front of the green. Because again, let's not put the water in play. We're coasting here. We're walking up, and the big scoreboard shows the leaderboard, and I didn't see it at the time. You saw it, and you go, "Did you see that?" And I go, "No, what?" He goes, "Louis made eagle." And I'm like, "Fuck you. Louis didn't make eagle." He goes, no, Louis made eagle. And I thought you were fucking with me. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm not falling for your shit. He goes, I'm not kidding. Louis made eagle. And I look at the scoreboard, and sure as shit, we're up 1. And now we have to get up and down from kind of a tight lie, not an easy chip, tight lie, pin. And now you seemed all right with it. Now I'm shaking like a leaf, and my ass was puckered. And you hit an incredible chip.
I did.
To
about 4
feet. Yeah,
I didn't nip that one in.
And I'm still disoriented at that point too. Like, I remember putting my bag in a spot where you're like, "What are you doing?" And I don't know. So I had to go back, move my bag, because I think it was in
someone's line.
Somebody's
whoever
line.
we were playing with.
Yeah, somebody's line. But sure shit, you somehow that putt went in.
That's probably the biggest win of my career, especially with you on the bag. I mean.
Well, because what we failed to tell was I had caddied for you a couple years before that, and we came in second place.
We did.
And I think we lost to Cam Davis by a stroke.
He did.
And he shot, I think, 7 under.
He shot 64 on Sunday
to beat us by a stroke.
He teed off very early.
So we kind of got, we got sucker punched.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what?
Back.
I said, you know what? I've got to come back for one more rodeo, and get us across the finish line.
And you got us across.
That was, and now I feel like the history of the Australian Open can't be told without me.
No, you are part of it,
and that means a lot.
Yeah,
that means a lot to me.
I mean, I wish we could put in this podcast the video that they had with the music playing that we all watched of the first hole. Remember?
Oh, on TV, yeah. The buddies had
coverage.
A good kick out of that. Yeah, that was funny. It was like in a montage to me caddying for you, because they knew what sold tickets and what drew memberships.
That's exactly right.
And what drew viewerships. So. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate it. We're down to our last segment. I call it the shooting the shit segment.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
So we got some questions. There could be some friends that have brought some questions along too that they wanted me to ask.
Okay, I can't wait.
So if you could take one shot back in your career, one shot in a tournament, Is there one shot that sticks out to you that you think maybe cost you another tournament or you just wish you had back?
Um,
Maybe a shot at the 2015 PGA Championship where you were leading by 3 shots
no.
through 50 holes.
There was probably one that really annoyed me, actually, the Phoenix Open on 17. I was it was on the Saturday, actually, or the Sunday. It was the back pin and the greens. It was just dirt and mud back there, and I chipped it over the green from short right into the water.
Okay.
And I made triple. That one's always annoyed me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about a shot that a great shot that you maybe pulled off that is there a shot that maybe stands out to you that you hit?
Probably the chip in Houston, but then again, I don't really think about shots that I've hit or shots that I didn't that I messed up. I'd have to say Houston.
Houston's chip. Yeah. Well, that one makes sense. What's your favorite golf tournament?
The Open Championship. Not even close. At St Andrews.
At St Andrews.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I think it was the year Tom Watson did his last walk over the bridge. The town of St Andrews is unbelievable, and to play the Open Championship at St Andrews is even better. I'll definitely take that as my number one.
I know you love the Open and you love St Andrews. Would that be if you were told you could only play golf one more time? Would it be at St Andrews, or what golf course would you choose?
It would probably be at St Andrews.
St Andrews.
Yeah.
Okay.
There or Pebble. I love playing Pebble as
Yeah.
well, but it'd be tough to go past St Andrews.
Okay. Well, this was fun. Again, I appreciate it. I've got one last question. This is kind of a question that's the reason the title is called Shooting the Shit. Where is the worst place or like the biggest emergency you've ever had to go to the bathroom and take? As you know, I run into these situations a lot.
Yeah.
So and shitting's a big part of who I am, believe it or not, as you know.
He does.
So I like to ask everybody else what their scary moments have been. Do you have one?
I do.
Off the top of
I
the head?
do. I was playing the Travelers in Connecticut with David Toms and someone else. And on the second round, I had to get an IV after 9 holes. Got an IV in the arm, finished the round off, and after the round, I took 6 more IVs. And they wanted to send me to the emergency room because I wouldn't go to the toilet. They thought I had kidney failure. I couldn't withdraw from the tournament because I was probably, I'm going to say 120th, 130th in FedEx Cup. So I had to play because I needed the points.
Yeah.
So I played Saturday and then teed off on number 10. And I'm very hydrated at the time. And I've got there's something wrong with me. I have the doctors following me on bikes the whole day. Get to tee shot on 10, second shot, hit my second shot. Something happens, have a little accident, something slips out.
Oh, boy.
And David Toms is behind me and he sees me putting my hand down my pants. And he's like, what's going on there? I get down to the green, and down left of the green, there's this big hill. I've got to go down to the hill. I go down there, take my towel, take my undies off, take the towel down there, clean myself up, put my pants back on, and I have to keep going.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then they brought me some tablets to kind of
help with something.
Help harden the stool.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
and you made it the rest of the round.
I did, but I lost.
Impressive,
I think I lost. I was very sick. I lost about 12 pounds that week.
Jesus.
I had a big. I don't know what got me, but.
Where'd you end up finishing?
I finished the tournament.
And you ended up keeping your card that year then?
I can't remember. I had to turn down the Olympics because I had to keep playing PGA Tour events because I couldn't skip an event.
That probably sucks. Huh?
Yeah.
But that's a good one. Taking a squirt on the course and then having to clean
left
up down
left
the
of 10 green at Travelers.
Hey, well, that's a great way to end it. Thanks for doing this, man.
No
I
worries.
appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.